Hi everyone, it is Allison here. I'm just checking in to y'all and seeing how you're all doing. I'd love to hear. We're just gonna give this a minute or two and we'll see who all joins us. I did the same thing to myself that I did last time, and I'm posting this on both Facebook and on Instagram at the same time. So if you see me looking at the wrong screen and you think that I've got my head on in a weird way, it's just because I am looking at the other screen. So Instagram is telling me to hang on. We're telling more followers to join your video. Okay, so while we're waiting for all that, I'd love to share a couple of things with y'all. And basically, that's the outline for what we're going to dive into in our time together today. I'm going to keep it pretty quick and pretty short, but know that I'm more than happy to expand on this for you all at any point in time. Just let me know. And essentially, the focus for today, as I mentioned, if you happen to jump in on that email, and if you aren't getting my emails, you can go to Vibrant Transformation and check them out there. But today we're going to be chatting about a couple of things. One, the topic of liking yourself. And that really is hot on the heels of a conversation that I had with my hubby, who wanted to get to the root of his people pleasing stuff that he was chewing on. So if you have issues with people pleasing, raise a hand, let me know, and know that we're going to be tackling that with a very direct, actionable exercise that you can use today and for a long time to come if you so desire. Okay? For some of you, the exercise might be really, really easy, really simple. And for some of you might go, what the hell is this? I swear a lot. You should know that about me going in. And the people who, if you go, okay, I don't even know what that was, that's okay. That's your opportunity to sit with it. That's your opportunity to ask questions. That's your opportunity to gain clarity. And that's the opportunity to dive into this self-exploration even deeper. And then we're going to be talking about a big, big announcement that I have. And in terms of announcements, I know I made a pretty big one of my sabbatical the last time I did this live video thing. So no, just a quick recap on that. The sabbatical is only for Body Talk Fundamentals, and I will continue to be supporting students. So if you have just taken the course and you're thinking, well, now what? Don't worry, we've got you covered. We have tons of support, and we have other instructors that are more than happy to have you jump in to do your second class with them if you're looking to go on to get certified. Okay. Now, the other thing that I get a lot of questions about is, are you still doing sessions? Yes. That's actually the main reason I'm taking this sabbatical, is to do two things. One, sessions, and two, developing online workshops. And to help that out, this is a part of my announcement. I've got a brand new website coming to you all, vibranttransformation.com. It's undergoing a massive revision, and you'll see it on Tuesday, fingers crossed. So if you are running into any glitches, please be patient with us next week, and we will definitely be sorting those out. I have fantastic people helping out with this, and I don't anticipate any major things that won't be resolvable fairly quickly. But these things always tend to end up going, well, technology with the difficulties that they do on occasion. So just be patient. And I'm really excited to get to share what I can do with this new website with you all very soon. Okay? And then the other thing we're going to dive into at the very end is a group healing session if you want it. So let me know. Send me a little heart. Are you down for that? Do you want more of that? We did a little bit of it last time, and I'm more than happy to do even more this time. Okay? All right, so where to begin? Well, I mentioned that I was going to talk about liking yourself and how that's tied in with people pleasing. So I'm going to start at the end, and then we'll go back to the beginning and we'll make our way through to the end and how I got there. Okay? Well, it's so trippy. When I look on the Instagram, I'm reflected in the mirror and I see the reverse image on the other screen. So I never really know which way I should be holding my head so you guys can actually relate a little bit better. Did you know that if you tilted your head to one side or the other side, it actually shows how you're taking in that information? So if you're listening with your left brain up, then you're taking that information through your left brain. That's the hemisphere that's really listening. And if you're more like this, then you're taking it in through your right ear. Same deal. Now you're accessing it more so through the feminine brain, and in turn allowing for that information to come in to the more intuitive aspects of your being. Okay, okay, so here's the end on liking yourself. Okay? So when we are ready to like ourselves more than we are interested in being validated by others, that's when people pleasing and the need to people please drops away. So when it is worth it to you to like yourself more, then what happens is naturally, through no effort of your own, does people pleasing fall away. So that's a big step often for people to go from here to there. So let's break that down and make it a little bit more tangible and a little bit more actionable for y'all. Okay? So in terms of the beginning of this, if you find yourself in a place where you're not being oh so kind to yourself, you're not overly liking yourself a lot, an easy way to begin the process of getting to like yourself again is to get to know yourself again. Often we can't like what we don't even know. And when was the last time you took yourself on a date and got to know yourself a little bit better? When was the last time you spent 5 whole minutes of time just with you and your attention on you, and not in a way that's picking apart the size of this body part or the curve of that body part, but in a way where we can just simply listen. The most frequent compliment, and one of the most flattering ones that I receive regularly, and the questions that I get about that is, you're really a great listener. How do I cultivate that? Here's the secret. It begins by getting to know yourself. If you can't listen to yourself, it's really difficult to listen to other people really well. Okay? So how do we listen to ourselves? Here's what we do. And for some of you, this is the part where I said it might be really easy, and for some of you, this is the part where it may take a bit of getting used to. Okay? And what you can do consciously is imagine. And your imagination is so powerful that your brain doesn't know the difference between your reality and between your imagination. So it's one and the same. For your reality and your imagination, if you can just simply imagine that those two merge together, that can make this even stronger. And if that's too much too soon, then let that go. First, simply imagine that you can take all of your connections to other people, all of your connections to all your other obligations, work, time, money, whatever the topics that are most present for you front and center today are. Imagine that you can just take all of those and go like thwack and set them aside away from you. I promise they're still going to be there later. They're not going anywhere, but how you perceive them might be radically different. Take a moment to give yourself a slow, deep breath. And now, gently thwack. That's a technical term. Did you get that? Imagine that you can create for yourself this separation of all the things of who you are not. And breathe here. As we separate all of those things of who it is you are not, you have the opportunity now to get to spend time with who it is you really are. And you can listen here for a second. You can listen here for 5 seconds. If you're really advanced, you might do like 10 seconds or longer, maybe even a couple of minutes. And over time, as you continually re-engage in this exercise, the more often you do this, and I recommend at least once a day, more in the beginning, to cultivate this neuronal pathway being activated and create that connection for you all to be there at the ready whenever you need it, tuning in and doing this regularly. It's simple and yet one of the most powerful, effective methods we have for simply letting go. Imagine that that is your reality, that you have all of this space between you and everything else that's out there. It's really an opportunity to cultivate listening and getting to know who it is you are in this moment. And that changes. Every single 8 seconds, you're a brand new person. So it's important to check in once in a while and check out this new version of who it is you are. Okay. If you have questions about that process, please do let me know and I will happily answer them today or in another call or in a private DM, PM, email, text, message of some sort. Okay. However, if you want to send me a carrier pigeon, I've been waiting. I've been asking for a carrier pigeon for a lot of years. So feel free to send me a question by a carrier pigeon. It would make my decade. That would be so cool. Okay. All right, so give yourself a slow, deep breath. And let's do that just one more time. Imagine that you can take all those pressing issues that are here and now, all your thoughts, beliefs, emotions, feelings, attitudes, all of it, expectations, needs, wants, and just simply imagine taking a step behind them all. Thwack. There your stuff is. Okay. As you take a step behind this all, tune in to who it is you are. And listen here. The cool thing is you can stay here as long as you want. You can still have the outside world talk to you. You can still have all of those other things present. You can actually still wander through and maneuver through your entire day and your life and have this all be here for you in this place, in this way. For some of you, this might feel a bit unsettling to not have all your stuff, because often we take all of our problems and we use them as like a shield. So who we are becomes this protective armoring that we have to wear now. So to get naked behind all of that is what we do with reveal and release. I've had some questions. I'm going to answer those briefly about what are its roots, where did it come from, and 2, why naked? Okay. I get that question all the time. So let me start with the first one. What are the roots of reveal and release? It's a lot of R's. What are the roots of reveal and release? And they are simply partnership work. And I've been studying a lot with Allison A. Armstrong. Check her out on iTunes and her website, understandmen.com. The horse course that I took way back is called Core Partnership. I recommend it for everyone and anyone if it's possible. And the other roots that go with that are the sedona method. A lot of you have experienced a little snippet of that or two. If you've been in a session or even a seminar near me anytime in the last year, you've probably heard one or both of those words before. We draw on a lot of advanced bioenergetics, which I've been training in well over a decade for, and been experientially training others in it for equally as long. And then the last component is, of course, energy work. And what forms that take changes. So it's a combination of a bunch of different things. There's Reiki in there, there's body talk in there, there is some other stuff that I haven't ever even talked about before, and it'll take way too long to dive into if I do today. So I have to tease you one more time and say I promise I will talk about that in its own separate live thing, but there's more intertwined here. And really these all came about in an integrative fashion for me, especially in the last year. I've been finding, in a way, I've been going back to the drawing board, and not just every single time I teach, but in the way that is a much deeper dive than typical for me. And I tend to go pretty deep most times. So you can imagine the depths that we're talking about. It's like we're so deep into integrating all of these things that the waters become so deep at the bottom of the ocean you can't even see light anymore, and now I'm surfacing with it all to bring it up to the light, breaking the surface of the water. It's really what the last year of birthing this all has felt like. Okay? So this babe that's been born, I'm so excited that I get to offer it in January in Mexico in the jungle. We're so fortunate to have an awesome little location called Tailwind Jungle Resorts. Don't worry, there's water. You're not just stuck in the jungle all day, I promise you. There is sunshine, there is water. It's Mexico. How can we not have that? And in addition to having that fantastic environment to support us, and sometimes it's nice to be able to escape your day-to-day life, to be able to dive into retreat that way without those demands. It's an easier way to go thwack and step behind all of that stuff, so to speak. That I find that I'm going to keep doing it because I find that it's so useful. I see people transform in that setting, and for others, getting away to Mexico just isn't a possibility. So as discussed before, don't worry, we will still be doing a North American version of it, I promise. And timing on that to come. Stay tuned. Okay. Where was I? Okay, so we were talking about the foundations of it, and now naked. So if you read the emails, you know that there is a nudity component. And I've also been training and teaching a nudity therapy-based course called Free Fall for well over a decade or so now. And it is truly my sport. If I was an athlete, this work is my sport. Okay? I've actually done a lot of soul searching around just that word athlete. So I think that we indeed all are our own athletes in terms of our physical capabilities. So don't mean it in quite that regard. Simply mean it in terms of not dismissing my inner physical athlete, but truly this is my passion and truly my love to be able to share it all with you. So why naked? Truth is, we could absolutely do this all with your clothes on. It just wouldn't be as effective. And here's the reason why. It's because the majority of people tend to have issues with nudity. And this is a metaphor that we're using it as well for. Because of the issues with nudity, we also then use those same issues to try to protect ourselves. But what happens if those issues of time, of money, of family, of work, of whatever your issues are, wherever you're just feeling like really stuck between that rock and a hard place lately in life, what happens if that's the thing that's been preventing you from readily going thwack and finding this separation between you and all that it was you thought you were, which is erroneously false? What if that time that you got laid off from that stressful job, that time where you ended up getting blindsided by a breakup in a precious relationship or partnership, that time in which something caught your attention so strongly that you went, oh my gosh, what a devastating loss, and you grieved it? What if that loss was your way, even though you didn't necessarily want it to happen in this way, of doing a thwack, stepping behind and releasing all that is not who you are? What if the thing that you thought that you wanted, that you're grieving, that you've lost, is the thing that's keeping you separate from what it is you've been really searching for a lot of years? It's hard to sometimes like ourselves if we are attached to things that aren't serving us. So what are those things that aren't serving you anymore, that are getting in the way of you being able to listen to self and figure out that, hey, now that I got to know this version of me, I might just even like it. It might even be fun. Okay? So why naked? For most people, that nudity is enough to get that happening. And that sensation is purposely designed. And don't worry, if you're completely comfortable being nude, we've got our ways of helping you get there. It's just a slightly different approach, but don't you worry. I'm like a ninja in this arena. Okay? So when that happens for most of you by taking off your clothes, what it's doing is it's using the vulnerability in a very laser-like focused specific way to loosen up the stickiness of all that stuff that you are not, so that we can readily release it, take a step behind it, and then you get to know who this version of you really is. And that's why naked. It's also a metaphor for you to strip down naked behind all that you hold attachments to in areas that are not serving you. I had one lady go, oh my gosh, I don't even know about this course because I'm so afraid if I have to get rid of every single coping mechanism I've ever had, then what does that leave left? I'm just going to be a puddle at the end of this weekend, and I don't think I should take this course. Here's the thing. Some of your coping mechanisms that you're using in your lives are necessary. We're not touching those. Those stay in place. We're simply releasing the clutter and taking out the stuff that isn't yours, never was, and is causing some, well, issue in your life. So that's really all we're doing. When we create this safety zone and we get you in a vulnerable space, it creates the ideal conditions to release. And plain and simple, that's what we're going to be diving into. We have many different ways of doing that. And some of the most powerful releases I've seen are with exercises before we even get out of our clothes or after you've gotten comfortable being out of your clothes and I ask you to put them back on. Sometimes that's the hardest part for people. So we're going to play with being able to release and step behind you in many different ways. Often the one that catches people's attention immediately is, of course, the component of nudity. If that scares you, then that's a sign. That's a sign that this is your opportunity to dive into the work to address that fear. Because what is the fear about? We were born naked. It is your natural state. So if this is really terrifying to you, then you probably really need the work. And if you're thinking, but I've had this trauma, I've had that trauma happen in my life. I know, I understand. And I promise you, we are addressing that too and releasing that, because that trauma is not who you are. Baby, you are not your trauma. Who are you? Beyond, beneath, around all of that. It's almost like we go like this to our traumas and we wrap our arms and our legs around them and we hang on to dear life because we forget who we'd even be without that story anymore. If you're ready to release that, we've got the tools. You give yourself a slow, deep breath. That's a lot to take in. Beautiful. I could go on, honestly, for hours on this topic, and I do. That's why people pay me to a certain extent. In the retreat setting, we'll dive much deeper. If you want to know more about the theory or the background of all this, let me know, and I will happily talk your ears off. Okay? Now, for those of you who are currently on this call, send me a little heart or send me some love or give me your favorite emoji to let me know that you're ready to dive into the group healing session. And while you do that, I'm just going to scroll and make sure I didn't miss any questions from anybody. Okay. All right, so who would like to do a little bit of a body talk session today? Okay. I'll explain a little bit about body talk while we are waiting. And essentially, I'm not going to dive into what body talk is. I have an entire video on that. It's on my website, so go check that out, vibranttransformation.com. As mentioned, that's getting completely overhauled. Well, right now, you just won't notice it until probably Tuesday next week. So if there's any glitches on that, just be patient. I promise you all is coming. Okay. And in terms of how group body talk works, while we are all far more alike than we are different. So this work is designed to get right into the heart of your issues. And we share really commonly most issues in life. They just pop up in different ways. Most people I know are stressed about time, work, money, relationships. Most people I know are stressed about health concerns. Yeah? These are the major arenas. So we're going to dive into and find the common ground that's here for all of you and address that so we can get some really foundational pieces for you. Because we're doing it in a group setting, the way that energy works with observation gets amplified even further. It becomes exponential in its form. Okay? All right, my loves. So give yourselves a few slow deep breaths and we'll get ready for today's session. And if you like, you're welcome just to begin here by means of breathing, giving yourself those few slow deep inhales and exhales, closing your eyes, going inward. And imagine that you can use every breath as an opportunity to release and let go. And begin to feel yourself sink even deeper into that cushion below you. Okay. The first thing that we're doing is a lymphatic circulation. Lymphatic circulation drains your toxins, your gunk, your waste, your low self-esteem, overthinking, overanalyzing, covers a lot of ground. And lymphatic drainage, as it's clearing out, in particular, in this case, our nervous system. Head brain is included with that heart brain and gut brain as well. And know that it's literally clearing the pathway for the next thing that we're doing, which is hydration. So it's almost like we're flushing out all the old and bringing in all the new. So hydration helps to absorb water and joy and release any impurities. Then we're going to go right into this center of you, your heart center, one of my favorite areas to work with. This heart region, it feels like it's just got this cold, heavy energy to it. We could call it grief. We could call it Saturn energy. Saturn tends to be heavy and cold as a planet. You could call it a lot of names. In essence, I'm just seeing this coldness as the false separation, so pathological separation. That's the separation that's getting in the way between you and who it is you really are. It's created this protection in a way that's also true and false. So as we release this cold, false protection from your heart, it's going to do like a little immediate whack. That's a very technical term. Did you get that? I think we have a new technique now called thwack. And as that's creating some space here for you, we're connecting it into all five senses. If you could imagine that your heart has its own set of five senses, we're working with them on both a physical and a subtle level to open up real clearly here beyond all those filters that are laden with those, again, ideas, beliefs, perceptions of who it is you are. And these filters on a physical level refer to your ability to like physically see, hear, etc. But on a subtle level, it's things like reading between the lines or just having that automatic knowing that can happen. When we have automatic knowing, that's your subtle sense of touch. It's my strongest subtle sense of touch. In terms of hearing between the lines, or you know when you can pick up on a tone in an email or a text, you're like, ooh, or oh, that subtle sense of hearing. Listening to your thoughts is a form of subtle sense of hearing. Okie dokie. Facebook is asking me to, there we go, do things. Got it. And it's still asking me to do things. Okay, there we go. I'm not sure what's going on with Facebook, but if this recording doesn't fully work, know that you can find it on Instagram here. Okay, so with that all, we're going to link that through to your diaphragm, which is your center for control and emotional processing. And then we're linking that through to your intestines, which let go of all the crap that you just don't need to hang on to anymore. Okay? Okay, and then we're going to give that all a few slow, deep inhales and exhales and breathe and tap that in. You don't need to actually tap. I'm going to do all the hard work on this end, but you're welcome to tap over the head brain, the heart brain, and the gut brain if so desired. Okay, giving that all a few more slow, deep inhales and exhales, and let's see what's up on the list next. Okay, next, lighting up is the throat chakra. Your throat chakra is your center for communication, and it's through communication that we often connect. This can be verbal communication. It can also refer to the 93% of communication that is not verbal. So our body language, for instance, or our subtle senses picking up on other information. It's referring to all those forms of communicating. Imagine everywhere you go, you're emitting this like imaginary vibe that your physical senses can't see, but your cats and your dogs can totally see, right? And your other animals, your horses, your cows, they often can see and sense far better because of their array of senses and being much broader in the frequencies that they can pick up. Now, with this, we're going to, for the throat chakra, run a little mini cellular repair, which helps to restore cells back to their fullest potential of health. And then it's connecting to the heart, so that way you can better communicate or express the center of harmony, the center of who it is we truly are, beyond all those other ideas and layers of protection that we wrap around it. Sometimes that includes things like Louise's Hay's false heart, as I like to call it, or the power of positive thinking. So mantras can be tremendously healing. Everything can be tremendously healing, time and place. But sometimes when our mantras are no longer used and usable, or that positive thought is no longer pertinent, but it's still been layered around here, we've forgotten to take it off so that everything that's underneath now can shine through. It's almost as if there was a wound. We put a band-aid on it called a mantra, the power of positive thought. And now that the wound is healed, it's time to take the band-aid off. But instead, you've forgotten about the band-aid, and it's still here. And now we have all these layers of band-aids and of bandages that are, stitching together and holding together things that don't even need to be held together anymore. But now this is creating its own obstacle, so to speak. Okay? So heavily clearing that out, that in part related to what we just did, and then connecting it through to the throat for it to be a deeper expression of the natural you, the true you, the authentic you. Lots of names here for this. Pick your favorites. Okay, just that piece alone, we have to tap in on its own. So give that all a few slow, deep inhales and exhales. Breathing here. Okay. To bring that all together, we're going into the cervical part of our spine. We're going midway into the neck, cervical vertebrae 4. And there's a feeling here of worthlessness that we're releasing. Then we're connecting that through to this vertebrae, and what is what I mean by that, cervical 4, through to the rest of the vertebrae in the cervical spine. Then we're going to take this new shiny cervical spine and connect it to your gut brain. So the gut brain is your center for embodiment of change. So once you release feelings of worthlessness, we can embody that change in a much deeper, meaningful way, in a way that becomes instinctual. Then we need to, at the same time, remind the gut brain around its ability to connect to the parasympathetic nervous system. The parasympathetic nervous system is the part of us that operates during peace, healing, relaxation. And essentially, its job is to help us to heal and to create this peacefulness. If you are so busy honoring all the other survival instincts besides peace and healing, which is actually also a survival instinct, because how on earth would we ever stay alive without that all? Then we have the opportunity here now to dive into connection in a way that doesn't involve the panic of needing to survive, but in terms of relaxation being able to connect to all those same survival instincts in a way that is 10 degrees calmer, so that you're even more peaceful, that you're able to even more deeply heal, and that you're even able to more deeply digest not just your food, but your life, your emotions, your experiences. All right, my loves. We're going to tap that part in here too. Give that all a few slow, deep inhales and exhales, breathing here. Okay, that is all she wrote for today. That's the end of our little mini session. And know that if you have any questions, comments, queries, do let me know. If that was your first body talk session, that might have been a lot to take in. So feel free to, again, check out the website, vibranttransformation.com. You can learn more about all my explanations about what body talk is, etc. there. You'll also see the info on the reveal and release retreats there as well. All right, my loves. I'm going to sign off for now, and know that I would love if you would give this even one more like or comment or anything like that, because that's apparently how the algorithms in Facebook work. The more action on the posts or the video, so to speak, the more it gets shown. And I'd love as well if you would share. So feel free to share this with anyone and everyone. I have the other one that I did from a couple weeks ago also on my Facebook page on Vibrant Transformation. If I can figure out how to get it onto IGTV, I will. But so far, no luck. So fingers crossed for me in doing that. And if you have any topics that you'd like to discuss, if you have any specific questions, give me a DM, give me a message, and we will chat soon. All right, my loves. I'm going to sign off for now and wish you a fabulous end of September. Bye for now.